gentlemen, welcome aboard to Compliance Global Inc. live webinar session on writing high-impact executive summary. My name is Esther, and I will be your host for today's session. On behalf of the entire Compliance Global Inc. team, I would like to thank you for joining today's session. Today's webinar will be presented by Philip Bassalo. We are privileged to have such a distinguished person like Philip to present our webinar today. Let me give you a quick outline on today's proceeding. Today's webinar is for 90-minute duration. First, Philip will take us through webinar highlighting the areas that would be covered in the session, and then his main presentation. I would like to inform all attendees that once we begin the teleconference, the phone lines will be placed on mute and will remain so until the Q&A begins, which is going to take place towards the end of the webinar session. This is basically to avoid any discontinuity and to make sure all participants attending the session benefit from the same. If for any reason you get logged out during this training session, please follow the same procedure to join in again. Now, I would go ahead and pass on the controls to Philip. Over to you, Philip.
Thank you very much, Esther. It's an honor to be here. This is the first presentation that I am doing for Compliance Global, so I am very excited. I have been doing this for a long time, though. You can tell from the look of the hair on my head that I've been around for a while. I want to give you a little bit of a background about myself, and then I want to put a disclaimer in about myself as well. First of all, by way of background, okay, there we go. I had a little bit of trouble advancing the slide here. I'm the author of 3 books on work-related writing, which I'll talk about in a moment. I write a blog, which has been running now 10 years, called Words on the Line. It offers tips on successful writing on the job. I've written numerous articles on writing theory and practice, which have appeared in various journals and websites and things like that. I, as well, if I can get it, suddenly we're having a little bit of difficulty here advancing the slides, and I'm wondering why. There we go. I'm a program designer, trainer, writer, and editor for corporations and government throughout the United States primarily, but I'm also international. I've assessed standardized tests if you've ever had to take one to get into undergraduate or graduate school. There's a good possibility I read your essay. I'm a faculty member of the Beijing International MBA program. In fact, exactly a month from today, I'll be flying out to China to teach some MBA students out there on presentation skills and writing. And my doctorate is in educational theory. And with all of that experience, I'll tell you, and this is the disclaimer, you know that writing is a subjective thing. So I will be showing you plenty of examples of what I mean by high-impact executive summaries, and they're going to come from various fields. So no matter where you work, I think using your imagination, you'll know that, hey, this does apply. It might not apply exactly to the job I have now, but it applies to the kind of writing that I need to do. Now, having said that, you know that this is not science. I will not be talking about 2 + 2 = 4. So you might feel that style wouldn't work in my company. So that's really important to think about. And I am going to challenge you to challenge me. If there is something you disagree with in a slide, because I'm going to call certain things standards of good writing. So if you feel that doesn't work here or something like that, please feel free to, when the question and answer period comes up, to ask those questions and challenge me. I'd be glad to address those issues. Okay? The 3 books I've written are the ones in front of you. The one that probably focuses more on getting to the point is the one in the middle, The Art of Email Writing. And you'll be getting some tips from all 3 of these books that I've written today. Specifically, this webinar will cover an approach to executive summary writing with a useful strategy, fusing the purpose of the executive summary with the issues that matter to your audience. That's a delicate balance, okay? The purpose is what you want to communicate to me, but I'm the audience. It's what do I want to know about your executive summary that matters. And then when you have a lot, even in a summary, you might need to put a lot of information sometimes. So how do you sort those ideas to clarify your key points and craft paragraphs that reinforce the intent of the executive summary? So we'll be looking at those 4 very specific objectives by looking at 4 qualities of a well-written executive summary. This last one, edit language to move the reader to action, is what we will be ending the webinar with, looking at some quick tips on tightening the writing, that sort of thing. Actually, you'll probably be seeing examples of that throughout the webinar. So when I think about what is a good executive summary, I think about these 4 qualities, which I've written about extensively. Statement, focused in presenting the most important point up front to capture attention. What's your statement? What is it that you're trying to tell me? In just a few words, what is this about, right? Support, thorough in detailing the key supporting content to maintain interest. Structure, organized with a top-down approach for efficient access to information. You know, this top-down thing is very important because if you have any sort of education, you've probably been trained the exact opposite way. You've been trained to write chronologically, and I'm going to depart from that dramatically in this webinar. And then style is the 4th S, expressed clearly, concisely, and powerfully to move the reader to action. Now, you know, people talk about this word executive summary a lot. I want to cover what I mean by executive summary in a while. So as an overview, I mentioned those goals earlier. The first one, statement, getting to the point, that's what we're going to cover in the first quarter. The second quarter will be support, addressing the issues. The third will be structure, organizing those issues, organizing your ideas. And the fourth will be coming across powerfully, making sure that you have the impact that you want when you're writing a summary. So we might not be taking an official poll here, but I do want you to think about this as we move along. So I will be giving you a few polls, and I know that there are some participants who are in a room right now. You might be a group. You might want to just write down your number that matters to you most. In other words, if you are sitting next to someone, you might want to share what you feel is your most important audience. Feel free to choose more than one here. So who is the most important audience of your executive summaries? Who are the people you need to write to when you're summarizing? Are they external clients, as is the case for me? For me, I would choose number one. Number two, internal executives. 3, team leaders. 4, project managers. Or 5, technical staff. This is an important thing to think about because I'll tell you, if I had to, and I do this occasionally, I have to hit external clients who are executives, and in the same summary, number 5, technical staff. Well, technical staff are subject matter experts. They know this stuff. The executives don't necessarily know the nuts and bolts. So how do you communicate to both at the same time? Very, very big issue. Okay? And here's another poll for you. I want you to also think about this. So I talked about it in the objectives, right? The purpose and the audience. Now I started with audience, but in this poll, I'm going to purpose. What is the purpose of your executive summary? And check all that applies. So think about this. And maybe there's a number 6. And if there is a number 6, I would invite you to feel free to write that in the group chat there. Okay, 1, is it to propose purchases or changes? You know, you might be proposing it internally or externally, by the way, to the company, right? Justify actions. The difference between 1 and 2 is, 1 is you're asking my permission to do something, while number 2 is you're answering my question, why did you do it? Okay, you're already justifying something you did. I want to give you one that